Hey guys, so this is the August 2020 budget with me, and generally I try to film this at the beginning of the month. I'm actually filming on the 7th, so you'll see that some of the things are already filled out here. First thing, as far as income, is AdSense. I only made around $50 or $60 last month, so I won't hit the threshold to get that this month. And then with paycheck, this one's a little complicated. I will be getting paychecks this month on the 7th, which is the day I'm filming this, the 14th, 21st, and 28th. So 4 paychecks for the month. But because of the way my deployment falls and then how that affects my overtime, each of the amounts of the paychecks are going to vary quite a bit. You can see that the one that I got today is $13.23. And then the one that's coming in on the 14th should be around $19.60 after taxes. And then the one on the 21st should also be $19.60. On the 28th, it's going to be a check just for one day. So that should be around $335, with the next full paycheck being in September on the 4th. So that means that for this month, the income should be about $5,577. While that is a little bit of a decrease from last month also had 5 paychecks. So it's not that big a difference. And then referral income, I'm not expecting anything this month, but if someone would like to surprise me, there are some referral links down in the description of the video. Car insurance. This actually went down a little bit because I renewed my policy for another 6 months. So it's going to be 57 something from now on. So it went down by about $5 a month. So we'll put it at 58. And then the car payment will be the same. I don't anticipate any extra car payments this month. Gas, let's leave it at 75. Last month I only got 1 tank, but I may or may not take a trip home over break this time. And electric, $30 should be fairly sufficient. I did look at it today and I don't believe that there was anything owed, so I'll pay that later in the month. And then we do have to adjust internet. Over the last couple of months, this has been $18. I think I know why it's that way. The beginning of July was a year since the time that I originally signed up for the service. And I think I must have had some sort of agreement for it to be the same price for a year. So it was the $14.99 a month, and then apparently now it's $17.99 a month. So from now on, I'll have to set the budget at $18 for that. The phone should be just about the same. And gas for this month was lower. I'm going to leave it on 44 because that's the budget amount. But because I haven't been home and it's also summer, so I'm not using the heat, it is actually below the budget amount. So the bill said to pay the lower amount. And I think they said that in September, they're going to readjust the budget amount, which will probably mean that that budget amount will go down a bit. Student loans are going to stay the same. And fast food and groceries, let's just keep those the same. Not sure what was happening there. Okay. Restaurants, probably the same too. Keep in mind for all 3 of those, I'm using my per diem card. So I'm not spending real money on that. And it's only weird situations where I would have to use my actual debit card where it would show up here. I'm not planning any gifts or donations. And I am planning on the doctor. I do have 1 doctor's appointment, but I think I'm only going to be able to meet with her once this month. I have an appointment next week, and it's been so long since I've gone, I don't even remember, but I think it's $125 for the appointment. So for August, we'll put $125, or actually, let me put $250 just in case I do get my schedule figured out enough to have 2 appointments with her. That'll be for my counselor. And then rent is going to be the same. Renter's insurance is right on. Storage will be the same toward the end of the month. And then business expenses. So the $15 for the business expenses that I've had on here for months, I actually took care of finally last month. The $10 that's on here right now is actually, I did a little bit of Facebook advertising and I just set a $10 budget. It was actually in July, but the payment came out in August. So that's what you're seeing there. Now, on one hand, I could take this down to $10 and just say, well, I'm not doing any more business expenses this month. And that is what I'm planning now. But there is a possibility that over my 5-day break here in a week or so, that will be doing some things. So I really just don't know what to set this as. So I'm going to leave it right there. So I'll either have it right here at $10 or I'll be a good bit over if I do end up taking a business trip or something like that. And then with clothing, I did buy some clothes last month, which is why that budget is set like that. But this month, I don't plan on buying near as much. Let's take this down to 100. And I'm not even sure if I will actually be buying anything. This is just in case I do. I might need a pair of shoes, maybe, but I might hold off on that too. And then stuff for mom, I did already pay mom's storage unit. And as far as I know, this will be as much as I'll be paying for her this month. So the final thing that we got to take a look at here is the goals, and specifically the emergency fund. Last month, I thought that I was going to be able to put $1,000 toward the emergency fund, and I actually was able to put about $1,200 or so. This month, because of the way my deployments are laid out, I'm on my 4th deployment. This paycheck I got today was the first paycheck specifically from money earned this deployment. However, I didn't have any extra money to put toward the emergency fund this time, but the next 2 paychecks and maybe the next 3 paychecks, I will be able to. So I'm really trying to estimate this, and it's really hard to do, but I don't foresee any major expenses coming up that would come out of my budget. So it's pretty much just what's left over when the next paycheck hits. Anything remaining is going to go right to the emergency fund. So it's going to be a rough estimate, but let's say $2,000. I might not hit that, but let's try that. So let's go up here to goals. Okay, I've already contributed $36. I transferred that over today. No, actually, I transferred $61 today, and $36 was from the previous paycheck. It must have just skipped over from July. So we're going to edit this goal, and we're going to put $2,000. All right, so save goal, close. All right, currently we're projected to hit this $10,000 goal October 20th of this year. Let's go back to the budget. You'll see here that even after adding that extra $1,000 in there, it's still projecting that I'll have $1,000 left over to work with for whatever random needs I have. So looks like we've got a pretty balanced budget this month, and still pretty fairly high income. Keep in mind, I also have my per diem coming in, which is actually higher this month. Normally it's 55 per day. It's actually 76 per day this time because I'm in Chicago. Technically I'm in Waukegan, but we get Chicago's pay. And because the cost of living here is higher, we do get more per day. In addition to that, I might get back pay. I've got 2 back pay checks coming, and each of them is going to be at least a few $1,000s. So, I mean, maybe $2,000 or $3,000 on the low end, but that could really ramp this up. And if that is the case, and I get that, then whatever I get in those is just going to go straight to debt. So if that happens, we'll talk about that at the end of the months and how I ended up spending that. So that said, I'll be working here in Chicago until the 16th, and then I'll fly home for a few days. And by the end of the month, I will have redeployed somewhere else that I don't know yet. And that'll be my last deployment. And the money from that and for next month will also go toward the emergency fund. For the rest of this month, you can look forward to doing a live stream, probably the 3rd week of August. when I'm home on break. And then also, I'm going to have 1 or 2 videos that are more kind of like the old storytime videos that I did, and I'll have those up sometime here this month. I'm really leaning toward getting the video done about why I left that job I had in February, March, and April, and then getting the job I have now and why I took this job and kind of how taking this job allowed me to plan for the rest of the year and into next year, and how I am foreseeing that affect my life and the channel and finances and all of that. So if you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments. I think that's the story time type video that I'm going to be filming for August.